Hello, welcome to Spy Money. Today is Saturday, July the 12th. It's noon Eastern Time. We're going to discuss how we trade the sniper bot. And one thing I just went over with some people was you can see this on my website as I do it daily. And I try my best to keep this on there, but if you go to SpyMoneyLSE.com, click on Live Bot, and when you click on there, that will be what the bot has done that day. I used to run it mainly from 9:45 to until I hit my target. I'm looking for 50% of my margin. So if I'm trading one contract, that's $1,000. So I'm looking to make $500, and I'm not looking to make that on one trade. We go for 10 points at a time. We're getting in and out. You can potentially make more, like right here. This one right here would, I think it was like something like, I think it was like $3,000 or something, but I wouldn't have been in that whole thing. I like to scalp. But there's different ones in here, but this shows the bot actually running. I do a recap on what happened, then I'll let you see the bot run untouched. There's often times that I would go ahead and close these out, but I don't do it when I'm trading, to show people how it works, because most people say, well, we're not privy to the trading information that you have, and we wouldn't have done that. So I let the bot run on its own, untouched, until we hit our target. A lot of people ask me what my drawdown is and such, and I have it set to make, I think it's around $550, and the stop I've got for $1,000. So in the settings, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, you can set a P&L that when it hits $550 or whatever you want. And the reason I do $550 is if it trades 6-8 times, you've got commissions of about $4 a trade. So you can have $20-30 in commissions. So I make it $550, and that covers that. So I'm going to show you the chart that we use, and as you can see, there's really only one thing that we have on here, and that's the sniper. And I'm going to go ahead and do one thing with this, and I'm going to show you the background just so that it's easier to see other than just the arrows. So it's up to you if you want to leave the background on. I personally leave the background on because I want to see more. I'm a visual person, so I like to see more of what's going on. As I guess the best way to say it. And there's before I move on, there's a chat box that's in your webinar screen there, and if you have a question or something, I will do my best to read those and answer those. So the way this works is I have Spy Money bars, which is proprietary to Spy Money, and no one else has them. It's something I made, and it works really well. And when you have chop, like if you put this on a 1 minute chart, this would just be everywhere, and it's hard telling. Well, from there it'd be 209. Over to here would be 232, so there would be roughly 21 1 minute bars in here. But with the Spy Money bar, when you see this, we call it stacking, and we don't trade when we see this. We only trade when it's moving pretty much like this. That's when we trade. Now a lot of people ask, well, how do you know when to turn the bot on? So what we do is we look back. It's really pretty simple. It's common sense. We look back, and if for the last half hour, something like that, say the last 4 or 5 trades, if it's actually moving good and the majority of those are winners, then we turn it on. So in this case, like right now, we would turn it on because we had a winner here, a winner there, a winner here, a winner. It's just been winning all day. And if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back and recount, but I think there was around 25 or 26 winners Friday session. That means from Thursday at 6 even in the evening till Friday at close. I think there was like 25, 26 winners and 3 or 4 losses. So that's not normal, and I want to stress that you can't just turn a bot on at the beginning of the session and just let it run the whole session and expect to make a whole lot of money, because it don't always work. And that's why we always look at the bot, the trades, to make sure that we're okay with making money there. So on, let me do this here. I can't get it where I want it. There we go. What we end up doing is, I like to trade usually about 15 minutes after the open, or I like to trade at the beginning of the session. And lately, and what I do is I look back at several days of the opening session, and I see how it's been trading. And if I see that the opening session has been trading pretty good the last several days, I will turn it on. So that's what I did Thursday night. So let me go back to where we were Thursday. Right here. So Thursday, right here was the first trade. It was 2 hours afterwards. So the open was right here, but there's no trades. And what we're looking for are these arrows. Arrow is a down arrow, so we're going to take that short. So we're looking for 10 points. So right here you would have got your 10 points, but if you had taken the whole thing, it's $3,800. Now, to stay in that trade is very hard, and this would be 8 o'clock at night. This was 8:27, so in 27 minutes you could have made over $3,000 if you'd have stayed in the trade. It's very difficult to do that, because when these, you get this green bar, you naturally want out. But if you would have traded to that, you're at 280 or so. But what we try to do is, we're not worried about this whole run. We're only trying to scalp and take a little bit out of each signal. Like right here, if you would have taken this one, then maybe you'd got 160 right there, but you would have got your full 200 if you would have just went ahead and took your profit. So in my experience of trading, I have found that you're better off just to try to go in and get 10 points or so, and it works pretty good. Usually you can get 10 points on NQ. You don't always, like right here, this would have been a loser. This is at 5 minutes before the close of the Thursday, but this is not an area that I want to trade, this time frame. I don't like to trade around 4 o'clock, because you get a lot of movement there that's just bots and things turning on and off, and you'll get a lot of volatility that don't even make sense. So I don't like to do it. But right here, if you would have had it on, you would have lost that trade. And I'm going to show you a way that you can scalp in here as well. But this was on Friday. And I'll pick any day you want and show you whatever. I'm not cherry picking. I'm just showing you what I did. So there was a winner. Here's a winner. Here's a winner. Here's a winner. So there's 1, 2, 3. Right here would be when your bot would shut off at the 50% rule that we're doing. So if you're looking for 50% of the trade, meaning if you got $1,000 margin on the trade, which is one contract, we're going to look to make about $500. So you would have got all your money right here on these 3 trades. If you'd left it running, which I did, I let it run until around a little after 9 o'clock. I think this short right here was the last one I did. I think I got 10 trades. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I took this one too. So out of those trades, it was $8,060 that I made because I was running 4 contracts. As we go through, we can see right there's a winner. Here's a loser. So there's 1 loser. Winner, 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 loser. That's 2. This is a winner. This is the 3rd loser. And 4th loser. 5 losers. 6. Right through here. I don't usually trade in the, well, actually yeah I do, because that's 10. So there's 1, 2, there's 3 losers right here. But what we would do is when you have a couple losers in a row, you just shut it off and you wait. So if you have this loser and you have this loser, just go ahead and shut the bot off and wait until you get a breakout. This would be our first breakout. We would miss this trade, but we would turn it on after this, and then we would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one depends on the entry. If you got, no, that'd been a loser. But you're only looking for 2 to 3 trades unless you move your take profits and you get your $500. So that's the whole object. If you would have turned this on at 9:45, right here would have been your first trade. So right there's one. You'd had 2 losers in a row and then shut it off. You wouldn't have had this one and you wouldn't have got that one, but you would have made up for your losers over here and you would hit your daily goal. So you're not always going to have a winner, several winners in a row to where you can get in or out of it. As soon as you turn it on, you have to actually watch it. Now let's go back to the next day at 9:45. And I'm not picking. If anybody wants to tell me a date, I'll go to the date. My usual is turn it on around 9:45. If the market has been winning, which it has here, I will often let it go ahead and enter even at the US Open. So I usually get up around 5 or 6 in the morning, and if I see that it's winning, I'll turn the bot on and let it run. So right here would have been a winner, here's a winner, and here's a winner. There would have been 3 winners and I would have been done in about a half hour. If we come back over here, this is a loser. There's a winner, here's a winner, 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 winner. So if you waited to 9:45, which would be right here, you would miss this whole run with the bot, but I'm going to show you how you can make money with these big runs. So this one right here, you would have missed on the bot. Your first trade would have been a loser, but then you'd had a winner, 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 winner. Right there, you would be done. And if you wanted to, right there's another winner. And that's the way the bot will work. It's actually pretty easy to use. You don't have to look for anything else. You're only looking for this arrow. And it's not always, but it's usually the third down bar or the third up bar, but not always. You can't go by that. But it's a high percentage of the time. So when you get that second bar, a lot of times you can anticipate that it's going there for like your manual. But like right here, we had this third bar, it immediately had a loss. But you picked up the winner right behind it. So the way the bot works is, let me open one up here. So we go to the strategy manager to get the bot turned on. We're going to go in and click on there's an icon on the top of the control panel that says strategy manager. You click your plus sign. When you click here, you come down, you click your sniper bot. When you click on that, it's going to put it right here. Now what we have to do is go into our settings. So we're going to click on settings, and we're going to call this, I'm just going to say it's webinar, just so that you can see what happens. So once I do that, that's going to put that right here. So what you would do is say, if you're going to run this on an Apex account or take profit or whatever, I would put that in there, and then I would put, say, we could put NQ and then the 40 SPY money bar. And then if you have any kind of filter in there, like maybe you have a P&L setting of 500,000. And that way, whenever you're looking at this, you can just look right here and see what it is. And so if you're running several bots, if you're running one on, say, ES or YM or whatever you're running on, gold, then you can go ahead and see which bot is which. And that way, if you're running several bots at the same time, which you can, then you can choose to run or not. The next thing we do is we pick our time frame. Now you can pick any time that you want that Quantower allows, but we use the SPY money bars, and we change that to 40. This is going to set it up for our chart that we have right here. And then our symbol, we're going to come down and we're going to pick, say, our live account. We're going to pick that, and I'm not going to do the account because it shows my account number, but you would pick your AMP account with that as well. So you pick your instrument of NQ, you pick the account that correlates with that, and then how many contracts you want to trade. Here lately I've been trading 4. And you leave this alone, leave that alone, and then you just turn these 2 off to where you have entry 2. I won't go into what entry 2, 1, and 3 is here on the public, but we use entry 2. And then we're looking for our stop of 60, and we're looking for our target of 40. And that's all we're doing. We got a stop loss, and we've got our take profit. The next thing you want to do is you want to use news alerts. Now what I use is 5 minutes before the news and 5 minutes after the news. And I only pick the high impact and medium impact. I don't care about the low impact because it usually doesn't move the market. So I do put a filter on there when I'm trading, because sometimes you forget that there's news coming up or something, or maybe you don't have the news filter on here. You forget to pause the bot. This will automatically pause it for you because we don't want to trade in news. When you get news, it will just like take off, and you most often will lose money if you try to trade news. Come down to the bottom and we do a session P&L. This session P&L says, like I'll usually put for 4 contracts, I will put 2100 usually, and that will allow me, it's going to be 4 times say the 550. The $100, I always get a little extra over top of my profit to cover commissions. Now $100 would be more than enough, but if we did this on 1 contract, we would do 550. Now each trade is $200, so you only need, on the 3rd trade, it's going to close out before it even takes the full profit. So you're looking 2.5 trades is what you're looking for. And then our stop loss, I leave it at $1,000. I'm willing to lose 3 total without a winner, because that's going to be $900. So if it goes into a 4th one and loses, then I don't want to do it. Now I will usually control this bot and not let it get to there. The way I will end up doing it is if I get 2 in a row that are losers, then I will usually pause the bot, turn it off, and wait for a breakout, and then I turn it on, then I let the bot start trading. Hardly ever does a bot have 2 losers in a row, let alone 3. It does happen though, but it's not that often. Usually you'll get 1 loser, and then the next one's a winner, which I'll show you like in this short here. You can't see it now, but it come down, it had that long, and then the short, it made money. On this one, this is set up so your P&L will shut off at $550 on 1 contract and $1,000 on 1 contract. What I run is $4,000 on 4 contracts, and I run $2,100 on a session target. But quite honestly, I will usually just sit there and watch it, and I won't even use the P&L, because if you have the P&L on and it hits this, it's going to shut off. Sometimes when you're trading, if you're watching it, which you should, if you have this on, it will actually cause you to lose money, because if it takes off a big old long short, it's just going to shut off right there. Where if you have this turned off, then it's going to keep on going, and you can move your stop, and it's not going to limit you to your money. Now, if you're kind of preoccupied doing something else, maybe you're trading while you're at work or something, and you can't fully watch it, you definitely need to have that session P&L turned on to make sure that you're not going to get in trouble, that if something did happen, it's just going to shut itself off. There's also a trailing P&L option. So let's say that once you hit $1,000, you want to trail it by, say, $500. So you would put this at 1,000. That would be your profit once it hits that. And then if you put $500 here, then it will trail that. So if it goes up to $1,400, then it will be $900. If it goes up to say $2,000, your stop is going to be at $1,500. So it's going to trail as you go. I made this a long time ago, and the reason being is there's trailing drawdowns on prop accounts. So a lot of people was requesting this, and it allows you to not get yourself in trouble to where, if you go make say $2,000 and then all of a sudden it just starts losing money, well, it's going to stop you at a certain point. So it depends on what you have here. So if you have it set on a 2,000, and it's going to let you lose $500 at the most on the next trade. So it would be like on the second trade it would shut off. So that's one thing you can do. One thing you have to remember about a bot is the more you tell it to do, the less it's going to trade, or the less it's going to make in the sense of what you do here. So me personally, I run this right up here. I do 4 contracts, and you can do it on micros if you want, or another instrument if you want. You just have to find the settings that work for you. We all trade MNQ and NQ mainly, and that's what this bot really works good on. So we have our stop of 40 ticks, we have our news, we have our take profit of 40 ticks is 10 points, and then we have our stop of 60, and then we're looking at our news alerts. I definitely think this is something you ought to have on regardless, because you do sometimes forget it. Once you do that and you set that up, all you have to do is click run. And I'm not going to do it now because I don't have the account in there, but if you click run, it will pop up and say the strategy is good. And as long as it's no red letters down here, then you have everything set up and it's going to work fine. This is the one I was talking about. If this is you're short, maybe you rode this whole thing out and made all your money on one trade. That's great if you did. If not, this right here would be an entry, and it would lose on this one. But you would make up for it right here on these two right here. You would make up plus $100 on this loss. And then right here would be your next one. So you would have 200 here, and then you would be back to 300 here, and then this would be 500 right here. It would go in the trade and kick out immediately. Where if you don't have the P&L set, you could get your full trade. And that's where the P&L can sometimes hurt you, is if you put too many constraints on the bot, it will either not trade when you want it to, or it will stop out when you would like to have gotten that extra money. So that's how I use the bot. It works real well. If I go back, if I hit like 20 days, and I'm just going to randomly go to a spot. Some people say I cherry pick, and I don't. I run the bot basically the same time about every day. And so I don't know how you check. This particular one, when you start seeing this right here, that'll tell you that there's chop. At this point, with this being a loser, and then we had a winner here, and then we get the chop, I turn it off at this point. I don't let it run through here. So we would have had, let me go back, there would be one winner here, 2 winners. Would I have that one then? That's 940. I probably wouldn't have got this one, honestly. I probably would have waited. I usually wait till maybe 942, 943 if everything's going fine. So this is realistically when I would have turned it on. So there's plus 200, minus 300, so that'd be minus 100. And then this would be plus 100. I would turn it off at this point. And then when we got this breakout right here, I would turn it back on. So this will be my next one. There's plus 300 and plus 500 and plus 700. So you would have been done by 1034. So that's why when I say you can't turn a bot on and let it run and just walk away, you just can't do it. If you do, potentially you could lose a lot of money. And only thing you have to do is just look to see how it's trading. If you've got this loser, then there's a good chance this will come on down. And again, at this point, we don't even know if VWAP is here, if there's a level or whatever. That's open to another discussion. So if you have a a level here, we don't trade into it, and I can't do that because it's so far back we wouldn't know what it's going to be. But if you have say a previous session high or low or whatever, then we tend to not trade around those levels. But the big thing, if you just look at this only, and if you see that we're winning trades, then we want to go ahead and trade. If we see that we come down into a winner, we start chopping around here quite a bit, we don't want to trade on this next long, because it's more than likely going to go up to maybe here, or maybe it runs on up. If it ran on up like it did here, then we would go ahead and turn it on and then let it start trading. It's really that simple. If you just look back on the trades of how it's done and just wait. As soon as this clears up in here, we got that breakout right there, here's our next one. So to give you the breakout would be right here. As soon as we broke out and we had this space here, and this out of this chop, we turn it back on to let it start trading. And you would have made money here, you would have made money there, barely, but you would have. And then this one right here would have made money. You'd had a little bit of drawdown on this one of $210, but it made money. Same thing here. This one right here made money. There's almost $300. So, and if you let it run, there's another winner. If we kept on going with it, you wouldn't, because you're at 11 o'clock. We don't trade after 11 o'clock. From 11 to about 2 o'clock, you're better off not to trade. Now, if it is trading good both ways and you have somewhat of a roller coaster, then there's nothing wrong with making some extra money, but you're taking a chance on this time because everybody goes to lunch if you're going to make money. So you're better off not to trade then. We try to trade up until about 11 o'clock and then quit, because 11 o'clock the volume disappears from 3 markets. The only market left is the U.S. market. And if you look in the afternoon time, I don't usually trade afternoon, but here's 2 o'clock. That's a winner right here. That's 7 o'clock at night, so we wouldn't. The session would be over. So I can go back and hit another day right here. Again, I don't know what days these are. I'm just looking for the time. Now this day right here evidently was a huge news day. When you have a huge news day, it's not always the best. You'll sometimes not get the best trading because it runs in a one direction and your pullbacks won't be enough. Like this one here, now it's just running straight up. But let's just say you turned it on. Again, I don't know what day this is, but you can definitely tell there's news. There'll be a loser, a winner, a loser, winner, winner. This will be a loser, winner, 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 winner. You definitely would have got your money in there. So looking at this right here, you would have had minus 300, plus 100, minus 200, back to 0, 200, minus 1, plus 1, plus 3, plus 5, and then right here it would have kicked out or done the plus 7, which would have been 11 o'clock. So you still would have made money, but it would have been more losses than normal. But and here's the other thing: if you just keep on running up, maybe the only thing you do is take longs. Some people use the man of war with it. Man of war, right? Then a lot of people will say that if it goes below, they'll take it. Where this one right here, it would have went below. That actually is a winner. Yeah, I said that was a loser, but that was actually a winner. So you would have made money before that. So there's 200, 400, minus or plus 1, plus 3, plus 5. So at this point, I would have quit because you're right at the 500 mark. I would have quit right here. So you would have actually made your money in like 25 minutes. But I don't use the man of war. This right here is the simplest way. Using the 40 SPY money bar works very well. You usually get enough movement to get 10 points out of the 40. Like right here, this would have been real close. It wouldn't have got it all the way over is 180. But when it starts chopping around, what we say is take a break even, a small loss, or a small gain. So right in here, when this pushed up and then it come down, when it pushed up, I would have put a break even in right here if I'm controlling the bot. Now again, when I post stuff on YouTube and such for people, I go ahead and let it go untouched, because then it's real world, real people. A lot of people don't know to put a break even in or whatever. So I just leave it alone and let the bot do it. So this would have been a loss untouched, but right here would have been a winner. This would have been a winner. This would have been a loss. That's a loss. But again, this is around after 11. We don't trade during this time. The best time to trade, in my opinion, is usually after about 9:40, 9:45, in that range. Usually you will start getting some movement then. So if I come back and just add right here's a 9:40, so right in here would be the first one. So there's your first winner. Here's your second winner. Here's your third winner. You're done. Again, this right here is 9:45. One winner, two winners, three winners. This one right here would have not quite made a winner, but you would have been done on those three trades. And it would have taken you right at just barely over an hour, like a couple minutes after an hour. Now, is this for everybody? No, it's not. It's not for everybody. Just to give you an idea on how this works, each account that you have has its own instrument. So if you have an Apex Rhythmic account, it would have its own instrument you would have to go get. And when you do that, it would automatically put your account here. And then whenever you do the, say a take profit Rhythmic, it would be a different one. If you did a take profit Tradeify, Tradeify won't work here. But whatever account it is, it has a different instrument. Where on some platforms you can just pick NQ and then you just pick what account you want over here. Where the Quantower is not like that. Quantower, you have to have the instrument for that account. It'll automatically put your account over here. And then as far as over here, here is your different strategies that you can put in place. Like I've got one that I'll use for ES. Here's one for ES. This one right here, ES. I'll use this one here for NQ, NQ, NQ. And you can make these and to where as soon as you click I always use the market orders. I don't use limit orders because I want to get in the trade. It's not going to matter typically, unless you have very low volume. A market order is going to be basically the same as a limit, so I don't care. So I'll click market, and when I do, it will put my stop loss of 30 ticks in and my take profit of 30 ticks. So on the 40, I will generally use a 60 stop loss and a 40 or 60 take profit. Friday, I was trading the 20 SPY money bar quite a bit, and that's what I mainly traded on, was the 20. The bot, I only use the 40 typically. So on this one, what we're looking for is, let's go back to the opening. So we have this one right here, and we entered. So the way this snatcher works is we can manually trade it with the bot to where we can pick up some extra trades. Now if you're in a trade, I don't do it, but right here you would still be in this trade all the way up to here, so it's $200 to there. Once this pulls back and you get a red bar, if your next bar is the green bar, you can enter again. Same thing with here. You would get this entry here and get your $200, but when this pulled back and then goes up, since we have a red bar and we get the green bar, you can potentially get $200 more there. This one here, you would have not got your 200 on that, but when you get so far up here and it starts getting extended, it's best not to do it. But like right here, this would have been a loser. We would have lost money on that, but as soon as it come back down, we can go ahead and manually enter that trade and pick that one up, and pick this one up, and pick this one up. So if you manually trade with that bot and you manually trade with the snatcher, then you can, like on this one, you would have got your full 50% goal on this one trade. So that's one way you can do it. It don't always work. It's not as consistent. Someone sent me an email asking more about the snatcher. I hadn't been talking about it. Well, the snatcher is nowhere near as consistent as sniper. Sniper's a lot more consistent. And what we're trying to do is find ways that we can have the bot trade. And for the general public that don't know a lot about trading, a way that they can hit their daily goals and go about their life. And the sniper does that for you. As you get more involved with this and start using it, then you can start learning more about the sniper and the levels and things like that, and you can potentially make a lot more money as long as you know where you are on the chart. But just to have a bot, just enter the trades. This does a very good job as long as you're on the 40 SPY money bar. It won't work on the range bar. It doesn't work there. It doesn't work on the Renko bar. None of that. The SPY money bar is the key to the whole strategy. And once you get that, then you're fine. But if you have any questions on this, there's a chat box there. I'll do my best to answer your questions for you. In the Discord, if anybody's in there, if they've got any questions, I think most of you all know pretty much what we did. The platform is very easy to use. I get a lot of questions about, people don't want to learn a new platform. The Quantower platform is actually pretty easy. You can see that adding the indicators is very simple. It's real similar to TradingView. Even when you open up the indicators, the inside of the indicators look a lot like TradingView. So if you're used to looking at TradingView on a chart, then that will probably do you pretty good. You'll understand better. You got our drawing tools right here. I can't do it now because we're after hours, but if you enter the trade, you'll have your stop loss say over here and your take profit up here. You can grab those and drag them where you want them. The chart's pretty easy to use. You grab a hold of this over here, you can move it up and down. You can move your time right here, or you can grab the taskbar and move the whole chart. You can even use your scroll on your mouse to change it. Once you get it all out of whack, and let's just say it's up here and you don't know where everything is, you can click up here where it says manual. You can click auto, and then to get back to the very beginning, you click this arrow and it puts the chart back to where it is, and then you can adjust it how you want. Pretty easy. You change how many contracts you want over here. To get to the settings, you just right click, go to settings, all your visual trading is right here, info window, quick roller, it's all pretty easy. Some platforms you go to and you have to click on the chart, or you have to click over here. It's hard to find where you want to go. This one with Quantower, everything's right here. So once you go here, you can change everything. If you want to save this chart, you can go up here to the top. You can save your chart as a template. You can apply a template or whatever you want to do. Very simple to use. Your time frames are right here. There's a little drop down that you can pick whatever you want and change it. You can change your candles. Of course, on SPY money bars you can't, but you can change the candles how you want them, if you want a line or whatever. So you can do basically what you do on TradingView here. Very simple. There is let me show you this here. So let me drop this down and bring this over. So up here you have workspaces that you can do. This is like your control panel. You can pick whatever workspace you want. Always use this one. You have your different connections up here. I have a large account and a small account. And your settings, you can change, like your main settings of Quantower right here. If you click over here on the SPY money logo, there's different icons that you can pick. You can do, anything you want to do is right here. There's no searching for it. And it's categorized pretty good where like all your trading stuff. If you want it to appear up here on top, there's these little, like if you want this DOM trader, If I click on that little star, it was already up there. It's right there now, and if I click on it again, it takes it away. So you can set this up the way you want it. It's actually really easy. I had to learn this on my own, but I have some videos on the website to show you how to use it, but it's actually pretty simple to use. I've used a lot of different platforms, Sierra Charts, Malta Charts, NinjaTrader, used the Thinkorswim, E-Trades platform, I forget what they call it, it's been a while. I've used Webull, Robinhood. I've used about every platform out there. I think the only one I haven't used is the Interactive Brokers. Is the only one I haven't used. As far as using all of those, this one is actually probably one of the more simpler ones to use. Yes, it does take a little bit to get used to it. If you take like a weekend, just kind of play around with it, watch a few videos. The only thing you're going to do is once you sign up, you're going to have instructions on how to download this, and there's a link on my website you click on, and it will download this platform. When it downloads it, it loads all the indicators, all the bots, everything. There's nothing like on other platforms that you have to constantly install things on updates or whatever. Right up here, you can't see it, but at the top right, there's a logo here. If that lights up green, that means I've done an update. So you click on that, you download the update, you install the update, and then it will shut the Quantower down, and then it starts it back up, and you're done. So there's no, downloading files, going to the files, installing them, and such. You don't have to do anything like that. It's very simple to use. It's actually a lot easier for people that aren't quite that techy and have issues even turning on a computer. So it works out real good for them as well. And so you don't have to have, like on another platform we had to install the bots, and we had to install the indicators, and then I changed it where it was all together. Then there was data issues and so forth. We don't have any of those issues with this. Occasionally someone will have an issue where they have their antivirus programs and securities locked down on the computer pretty tight, and they have to go in and change the settings to make it to where it will allow this system to work. We had one of those yesterday. He bought a new computer, and he had to go in and make exceptions for his AMP account and also the Quantower platform. Once he made those exceptions, then he was fine. And I think that's about it. It's pretty easy to use. The strategies are very easy, and I've shown you, multiple days. And yes, you're going to have a loser every now and then. It's how you handle that loser. Everything is about risk management, and if you can't, if you can't do risk management, you're going to have trouble. No matter what strategy you use. Right through here, these are all winners. This was Friday. It's not always this good. I'm going to be quite honest. It's hardly ever you're going to get 10 winners in a row. But in this case, I had 10, and actually there's 11 winners in a row that it would have had. And that just normally don't happen. Usually you'll get 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 winners, and then you'll have a loser. So it's not always perfect. And I don't want to come across that way that it is. But again, you can go to my website. Once you look at my website, there's videos on there that show the bot trading live, and by watching that will help you as far as seeing it. A lot of people say I want to watch the bot do whatever. Well, there's multiple videos in here that are day apart. There's no cherry picking, and it just works. Are you ever going to have a losing day? Absolutely, you're going to have a losing day, but usually if you follow the rules that I just spoke about, you probably won't have a losing day, because maybe you're down, $300, $600, but if you just go ahead and walk away from it at that point, come back a little bit later, and then look, is it now trading better? Has it broken out of your chop area? And if it has, and it's trading better, turn it on, then more than likely it's going to pull itself out and get your daily profit in there. Right through here, I mean, you just know not to trade in this kind of area. But this one right here is a loser. Here's a winner. Here's a winner. This one right here was a winner. This one here was a winner. And this one's a winner. But if I see something like this, I'm usually not going to trade it. And this is at noon, so we're not going to be trading at that time anyway. Statistically, from about 11:30, somewhere through there, up until about 2 o'clock, it's usually not great. And that's what this right here is. So if you turn it back on, say 1:30 or so, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 winners right there. I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I'm going to assume that there are no questions. If you do have questions for me after this, just send me a contact on the website. Once you do that, then if you come up here and go all the way to the top, it was way down there. Right here at Contact Us, if you put in your name, phone number, and so forth, if you need to speak to me. I do talk to people. I don't hide from people. Put your message in here, or if you just have a few questions, look at that, or send that to me, and I'll look it over, answer them back to you. I will be answering them today. If you need to speak to me, I will talk to you today. Also, the lease program to get you started on that. I almost forgot this part. This is the best part for me. $1,000 for the first month, $1,300 thereafter. That allows you to put some money in a trading account, so I'm kind of somewhat giving you the money back to do that so you can get started on micros. To get started, you will need to read through these 14 items. Once you read through these, if you agree to them, then the only thing you have to do is just copy this like this, and then go up to the Contact Us, put in your information in it, and paste this in the description, and send that to me. And then once approved, I will send you a link to get joined. Pretty easy to get joined up. What you get with everything is any trading bot. There's actually a snatcher bot here too, but honestly, it works, but it's not as consistent as Sniper bot. I like the Sniper bot best. And then the indicators, we have a lot of indicators. There are some more that aren't listed here. Any bot or indicator that I do automatically comes with the lease. There's nothing else to purchase or pay for or anything. With the lease, it does come with a free usage of the platform. So that's for now, but I'm going to be changing that real soon, and it's going to be to where the people have to pay for it. It's $70 a month, and what I do is take that out of the lease payment, so I'm paying that for you. All of this only works on the Spy Money platform, which is a white label of Quantower. If you have Quantower now and you're paying for it and you like it, you'll have to download this one as well, which will work just like the one you've got. It has everything in it plus a little more. We have some extra features on this platform that Quantower doesn't have on the public one. So there's some things, and there's some more things we're changing to get ready to. But if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Thanks for showing up. I hope to get you started in the program, and maybe come Monday, you'll be ready to start live trading, and you can start pushing your profits as well. Everybody have a great day.